All right, this is problem number 18 from the dividing rational expressions sheet. So what we are going to do is we have 4 different locations: numerator, denominator, numerator, and denominator. And what we're actually going to do is take this first fraction and we're going to factor it. And then what we're going to do is change from division to multiplication. And as we factor this second fraction, we're going to change it to its reciprocal. All right, so let's begin. Looking at the first fraction, we're going to have a 10, a 42, and a 36. And so our greatest common factor there is going to be a 2. And when we factor out a 2, that is going to leave us with a 5b squared plus 21b plus 18. And then I'm going to have to check to see if that can factor either further, and I'll do that in a second. But I'm going to look at the second fraction, look at the denominator of this first fraction. I see a 6, a 2, and a 60, and I'm also going to have a greatest common factor of 2 there. And so that is going to leave me with a 3b squared minus b minus 30. I immediately see that I am going to be able to cancel this 2 with this 2. And then I'm going to continue along seeing what can I factor with this numerator of 5b squared plus 21b plus 18. So that might take you a few seconds to factor. You would use either guess and check, trial and error, or some people use split the middle or grouping, borrow and payback, lots of different techniques. So whatever you feel comfortable with factoring, and eventually you should get to the point that this factors into 5b plus 6 and b plus 3. Remember to always check. 5b times b is 5b squared. 15b and 6b, 21b. 6 times 3, 18. We have a similar with the denominator here. So 3b squared. This one is a little bit less complex because we know it can only be 3b times b. And we see that we have to have a negative 30, so that means we're going to have a positive and a negative factor. And then we need to make a middle term of negative 1b. So you might need to try a couple of different combinations to come up with that is 3b minus 10 and b plus 3. Remember, always check yourself. 3b times b is 3b squared. 9b and a negative 10b is negative 1b. And then our last part is looking at negative 10 times 3 is negative 30. So we have the first fraction factored now. Now we're going to take our second fraction. We're going to change it from division to multiplication. And then we're going to change it to its reciprocal. Okay? So that means that the 40b plus 48 will be in the denominator, and the 3b squared minus 13b plus 10 will be in the numerator. And so now we're going to factor. Once again, we have some trial and error factoring. So I need to be able to I need both negative signs here, and I need to be able to make a negative 13. And so that is going to be a 10 and a 1. And then always check yourself. 3b times b, 3b squared. 3b minus 1 is a negative 3b. Negative 10 times b is a negative 10. And add that together, that gives us our negative 13b. And then negative 10 times a negative 1 is positive 10. And then our last thing here is 40b plus 48. And I see that there's a greatest common factor of 8. And that is going to leave me with a 5b plus 6. So now that we have every place factored, we're looking for where can we create a 1 and cancel. I do see that this 5b plus 6 will cancel with that 5b plus 6. That this b plus 3 will cancel with b plus 3. This 3b minus 10 will cancel with this 3b minus 10. And we're going to be left with b minus 1 in the numerator and then an 8 in the denominator.